Hi everyone, Fox is here, and I'm bringing you the third part of my August book haul. My August book haul got so big that I had to split it in three parts, which is insane. And I'm really sorry. Yes. But here we go. This is the third part of my book haul. I'm going to provide the links to the first two parts in the description box below. But the theme of this book haul is going to be YA books, mostly YA fantasy. The first book that I want to show you guys is my most anticipated sequel of this year, and this is A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. I loved An Ember in the Ashes, and this book was actually, I think, scheduled for release on 30th or 31st of August, but I received it way before that from Indigo. It's a chunky book. I cannot wait to read it, and it really pains me that I probably not be able to read it before I go on vacation, and I know that I don't want to carry it with me on vacation because seriously, it's chunky and it's hardback, but oh god, I so want to read it just right now. Yeah. The second book that I got here is also in a recent release, and it's very much talked about, and this is And I Darken by Kiersten White. I've never read a book by Kiersten White, but people seem to love this one, and it's supposed to be a YA and also a bit of fantasy, and it is a retelling, plus it's supposed to be very dark, and there is a female protagonist. There are a lot of things that appeal to me in this book just based on the description, and there is another thing. This is the retelling of Vlad the Impaler, but in this case, this is Vlada, it's a girl. What interests me about this book is that, if you don't know, Vlad the Impaler became the inspiration for Dracula. So, I kind of have a lot of expectations for this book. I guess I just have to wait and see, but it's also very chunky, and I'm afraid I will not be able to read it until at least October. Then I got myself a paperback of Tithe by Holly Black. I've had a bit of a hit and miss with Holly Black. The first book that I read by her was The Darkest Part of the Forest, which I absolutely loved. And then I read her graphic novel series about neighbors. It was like kin, kith, and something else. I didn't really like it, but this one is also supposed to be based on fairy tales, and I also know that pretty much all of Holly Black books have some sort of queer characters in them, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. It's also super cute and super small. I've been waiting for Book Outlet to have this book number one on sale, and I finally got it for myself. Then I got myself Legend by Mary Lou, and it's also been on my wish list at Amazon for God knows how long, and I finally decided to pick it up, even though I'm not even sure when I'm going to be reading it, but I decided to buy it. Yeah, I have no excuse. Seriously, no excuse. No, none. Next, I have a paperback edition of Legacy of Kings by Eleanor Herman, and I heard mixed things about this book. It came out about a year ago, and some people were very excited about it. It's supposed to be high fantasy, plus historical, plus young adult. However, I was hesitant to pick it up because some people were saying that it's a bit slow and it's a bit boring, even though it's kind of historically accurate. However, I don't know much about the plot or anything else. I just know that there are some people who loved it and there are some people who hated it. So I wasn't sure whether I want to pick it up or not, but then I went on Instagram and I saw Adam Silvera, who is my favorite author, and he raved about this book. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm not sure if I want to read it or not. And he said, yeah, go and read it. And I was like, okay, well, if Adam Silvera tells me to read a book, I go and buy it. Yeah. Then I have The Girl of Midnight by Melissa Cray. I have a feeling as if this is a bit of an underhyped YA fantasy book. Not so sure, but it keeps popping up in my recommendations on Book Outlet, and I just decided to pick it up because it's a hardback and it was super cheap, so yeah, why not? Then I got myself books 2 and 3 in Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. Everyone read these books, but I haven't. I haven't even started it yet. One day. Next, I have Firewalker by Josephine Angelini, and this is book number 2 in her trilogy. I read Trial by Fire just recently, and I actually really enjoyed it. That's why I went online to Book Depository, and I purchased this second book. However, I just love this cover. Book number 1 and book number 2 have gorgeous covers. Book number 3 is coming out at the end of September, but unfortunately I have book number 1 as a paperback, and this is a hardback, but however, this cover I mean, like, seriously. I just love it, and I cannot wait to read it. Then I finally got myself a copy of City of Lost Souls, which is book number 5 in Mortal Instrument series by Cassandra Clare. It's one of those series that I haven't started yet, but I decided just to purchase all books. And I wanted to have all books in the same edition, so I was waiting for this one to become available in Book Outlet, and finally it was there. I was so excited to get it, and hopefully I will be able to binge read the whole series maybe by the end of the year. But yeah, I mean, finally, the whole series is complete. Yay! Then I got myself copies of Fairest and Stars Above by Melissa Meyer, and these are obviously companion books to the Lunar Chronicle series. I have not read the series yet. It's the same thing. I just wanted to make sure that I have all books in the series before I binge read it. The only disappointing is this is a hardcover and this is a paperback. When I was ordering it online, I didn't realize it. However, I'm just excited to have those books for kind of like really cheap. And I'm not sure if it was a smart move to actually buy these books, because usually companion books are not as good as the books in the series. However, I just decided to purchase them for the sake of purchasing them, which is what I do. Yep, no excuses. Next I have Here There Be Dragons by James A. Owen, and I know nothing about this book. Honestly, I don't, but I went to Goodreads and apparently it has very good reviews. Rating is pretty good. It's supposedly about dragons, fantasy, and it's also YA or even middle grade. I just want to read something about dragons. It's been a while since I read anything about dragons, so I decided to pick this one up. Besides, look at this. It's a gorgeous cover. Why not? And it was super cheap at Book Outlet. Next, I got myself, quite randomly, a copy of As Chimney Sweepers Come to Dust by Alan Bradley, and this is one of the Flavia de Luz mystery novels. Apparently, that's a series about a girl who she's like an 11-year-old detective, so that appeals to me. I love detective stories for all ages, and this one is supposed to be somewhere like in Victorian England. I'm not really sure. I don't know anything about the series, but I saw it in the bookstore and I decided to pick it up because it was super cheap. Plus, you know what? If there is a girl detective and there is some mystery and maybe something creepy and supernatural, I'm all down for it. Seriously, I know nothing about the series. I know that it's not the first book. I think it's like 10th or 11th, or not like 7th or 8th book in the series, but apparently you can read them as standalones. If not, please let me know down below if I'm making a mistake here and I should be starting with the first book. But I'm excited. I don't know, I like the cover. I picked it up, I read the blurb, I read the first couple of pages, and yeah. Next, I have Salvage by Alexandra Duncan, and I know nothing about the book except for it's a YA sci-fi, and there is supposed to be a queer character or queer romance, and that was what sold me on this book. I found it through tags and recommendations and Goodreads. Really know nothing about it. I was about to get it from the library, but then I saw it available in Book Outlet, and it's kind of chunky, which surprises me. I think it's a duology, and the second book is also available in Book Outlet, but I'm not going to purchase it until I know what this book is about and whether it's good or not. But hopefully I'll get to it sometime relatively soon. And the last but not least is The Door into Fire by Diana Duane. This is book number 1 in her series, which were quite well known some time back. I'm not sure when she released the first book originally. I think it was probably in the 80s or maybe in the 90s. I remember when I read a lot of books back in the 90s, I got this series quite often recommended to me, but I never got a chance to get a book by her. However, this is the reprint. Finally, these books are getting reprinted, and even though it kind of looks as if it's self-published because of the size and because of the cover, however, I got this from Amazon. This is book number 1. I don't think other books are available yet, and I don't think her books were available on Kindle, but this is a high fantasy YA series, and I think one of the protagonists is also a queer character. That was what appealed to me initially in the series. And I honestly don't know anything about the plot, so I cannot tell you anything about it, but it was highly recommended, and it's kind of underappreciated as well. But if there is one thing that can sell you on this, it's blurb by Tara Pratchett. So this is a quality stuff, guys, and I'm finally Finally, I have a copy of this book. I've had this book on my wish list for I don't even know how long, and I've never had a chance to buy it because it was just not available anywhere. And finally, I have the first book in the series, and hopefully, they will release everything else as well. So I'm looking forward to reading it sometime soon as well. Well, this is it, guys. These are all books that I got in August. I know I got an incredible amount of books, but I am excited about them. They are all great books, and mostly I got them from Book Outlet or secondhand bookstores, so I didn't really spend that much money. However, I did get a lot of books, I admit that. And please let me know down below if you read any of the books that I mentioned in this haul or in my previous videos. Let me know which books you're most excited about this fall. I know that there are a lot of people will be reading And I Darken, the same as A Torch Against the Night. I'm super excited about this book, but I don't know when I'm going to be reading it because I'm going on vacation, which is also good, but I need to read this book. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you very soon. Bye! No, Siri, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the camera. And as you know, Vlad the Imperial... I cannot pronounce the Impaler. I hate words that have both L and R in them. I just fail at them. I'm sorry. Then I got myself books number 2 and 3 in no, it's not Game of Thrones.